kids! Welcome to LCM Kids Online with me, Teacher Mickey. Now we're talking about the 10 Commandments of the Bible. And over here with me, I have my 10 Commandments paper tablet that we did on our introduction lesson. So let's just recap what the 10 Commandments are, alright? Now let's go to the first one we have. Put God first. Second one is worship God only. The third commandment is use God's name with respect. The fourth one is rest on the seventh day. The fifth one says obey your parents. The sixth commandment says harm no one. And number 7, keep your promises. Number 8, do not steal. Number 9, tell the truth. And number 10, do not be jealous of others. So we have already went through 2 commandments so far, put God first and worship God only. This week we will be talking about our third commandment over here, which is to use God's name with respect. Now I would like you to get a color pencil and just color over this third commandment because we're covering this one today. Okay, let's color. Okay, so I'm done coloring mine. Here's my third commandment in pink. So now, before we talk more about this third commandment today, I would like to play a game with you. This game is called the ball blowing game. Now what happens is you need to prepare some stuff. Firstly, I would like you to get a small ball, any kind of small ball that is not too heavy. And I would also like you to get 2 paper cups or plastic cups and 2 pieces of rectangle paper, okay, small pieces like that. 2 markers, preferably a blue one and a red one. And finally, some tape, okay, any kinds of tape that you can find at home. Scotch tape, color tape, washi tape. Got all that? Okay, so let's start making the materials we need for our game. Firstly, I would like you to take out your 2 pieces of drawing paper. And on one of the paper, I want you to fold it in half. And at the top of it, I want you to write the word G-O-D at the bottom here. And maybe draw a face, a happy face of God at the top. Okay, so the bottom part, you don't draw anything. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so it should look something like that. Okay, a happy face and the word God. Now, next one, I want you to get your other drawing paper. Same thing, fold it in half. And then now you get your red marker. And the bottom part, okay, don't touch that. Just go to the top part. And I want you to write the word Satan below and an angry face. Okay, so here's what it looks like. So once you have your 2 pieces of paper, it should look like that. I want you to get your cups and some tape and just tear out a small piece of tape. So what you're going to do is to tape each of the paper to the cup. Okay, you can tape it like that. So just slot it in and tape it down. You can just tape it down at the sides. Okay, see, I'm taping it down at the sides just to make sure the paper doesn't move. Okay, so you probably need more tape. Or if you have blue tack, it would work as well. So here I have stick up my paper into the cup. And the word Satan and the picture of the angry face should pop out of your cup like that. So one is done. Now move on to the other cup and paste the paper with the word God inside. Okay, but make sure the word God and the face pops out. Okay, there you go. My God cup and my Satan cup. Now the next thing you will need is a table. Okay, so over here you can see my table. And at the edge of the table, we are going to tape the cups down. Okay, so I'm going to take my God cup first. And you're going to get some tape like that. And you're going to tape it to the end of your table. There you go. And then you're going to tape the other Satan cup to the end of the table as well. Like that. Okay, so once you're done, it should look like this. And what each player will have to do now is to put the ball at the edge of the table like this. And you're going to try and blow it until it rolls to the cup that says God. And not the cup that says Satan. Now for every time your ball drops into the cup that says God, you get 1 point. But for every time that your ball accidentally goes to the Satan cup, you minus 1 point. So every player will get 1 minute to try and collect as many points as they can. So let's try. Well, who was the winner of the game? Did you manage to blow your ball into the God cup? Good try and great job, kids. Now, as we are talking about the commandment of using God's name with respect, the small ball that we are using is just like the words that come out of our mouth. We have to be careful and control what we are saying, because at the end, we can end up either saying things that make God happy by going into the God cup, or make Satan happy by going into the Satan cup. Now here, let us go to our Bible verse of the week. This week's Bible verse comes from Exodus 20 verse 7. I will read it in small parts and you will repeat after me. Okay? Let's read. You must not use the name of the Lord your God thoughtlessly. The Lord will punish anyone who is guilty and misuses His name. Now, through this verse, we can see that God does not take delight in anyone who doesn't use His name in the proper way, or people that misuse His name. So, why is God's name so important that we have to use it so carefully? Well, God's name is not just a way that we use to call Him. It also represents His power and His glory. God's name holds with it the weight of His identity as the creator of everything, the King of the universe, and our loving Father. When we carelessly use His name, it means that we're not seeing God as of the high importance that He has, and disrespecting His position in our lives. Now, there are many ways that people can misuse their words and disrespect God's name in their daily lives. Here, I'm going to share with you some examples. Example number 1. Putting another person down. Child A says to Child B, "You are so naughty. How can God still love you?" Child B cries, "I don't like God anymore. He does not love me." Now, sometimes we hear people say things like, "You are a Christian, yet you still do this. How can God love someone like you?" Or, "God is very disappointed with you now. You always have so much problems. God is probably punishing you now." Now, they are actually misusing God's name because they have made God seem like a scary, unfriendly, unloving, and hurtful God. However, we are not God, and it is in no one's position to say what God thinks and what God feels. It is not for us to say what God is doing in another person's life. In fact, if we are using God's name to make someone feel sad, angry, or hopeless, that is wrong. God is not some fearsome punisher, but He is forgiving and helpful to those who seek Him. So do not give others the wrong idea about God. Example number 2. Using it to describe idols. Child A holds up a statue and says, "Look, look, my mom got me this God of good results. This statue is gonna help me get good grades. Yay!" That is just a statue. It's not God. How can you worship that? You don't know. And another example of using it to describe idols. Child A is looking at a picture and smiling to herself. Ooh, yay! Hey, what are you looking at? Why are you so happy? I'm looking at him. Who is that? You don't know him? He is the God of pop. He is the God of dancing, and I love him. He's the God of my heart. He's really popular. Don't you know him? No. Now, in some religions, and even with famous people like celebrities, they like to use the word God to describe them, like the God of money, the God of pop, the God of dance. However, we all know that there is only one true God, and that is Jesus Christ. So when people use the word God to call the idols, they are putting wrong power on the wrong things, and that is disrespectful to our true God. This only breaks the first commandment that we talked about, and that is to put God first, not other idols. And finally, example number 3. Using God's name without purpose or just for fun. Child A was having her birthday, and Child B decided to give her a present. "Hey, happy birthday, this is a present for you." Oh my, thank you so much. Now, a lot of people like to say, "Oh my," or "oh," when they're exclaiming something or when they feel excited, surprised, or even angry. However, when we call out to the Lord's name like this, it has no purpose for the Lord, and it is only a form of expression. It is not because we are truly seeking the Lord, praying to Him, or asking for His presence. Now, every time we call out to God and use His name without reason, we are not using His name with respect or love, but just carelessly shouting it. It is like someone calling your name, and then when you come to them, they tell you that, "Oh, I wasn't really calling you, I was just saying your name for fun." Now, how will that make you feel? Now, children, we need to see the importance of the words we say and be careful of how we use God's name, because God's glory, power, and love is shown to others through us. How we respect, follow, and believe in Him. When we do not guard our mouth and misuse God's name, it will make Satan very happy because we are indirectly putting God down with our words. So, let us all be more careful in using God's name. Now, let us bring out our 10 Commandments booklet over here. Okay, our activity booklet. And so far, we have already done page 1. Okay, the first commandment. Page 2, the second commandment. And today, we're going to turn to our third commandment page over here. Okay, at the top, it says third commandment. And below, we have the phrase of our third commandment, which says, use God's name with respect. Below, there's the dotted words. So I want you to get a pencil or a color pencil and just trace over it. Okay, let's trace. Okay, so I traced mine with a pink pencil and it looks like that. Use God's name with respect. Now, once you have done that, okay, at the top there's an activity for you. It says, paste the missing hand cutouts over the boy's mouth to stop him from misusing God's name. So what happens is we're going to make hand cutouts and we're going to paste it over the boy's mouth because he's going to misuse God's name. Okay, so how do you do that? I'll need you to get a piece of skin colored paper. Okay, I've got mine in beige. And if you do not have this color, you can also get white paper and just color over it with a color pencil. Okay, once you have that, get a marker. And we're going to draw small hand cutouts on it. I will need 2 small hand cutouts. So make sure it's not too big because you're going to paste it over this boy's mouth, right? So make sure it's about a size that can fit here. So I'm going to start drawing now. Okay, so here's my hand cutouts. Really small ones. And now you're going to get your scissors and we're going to cut them out, okay? Now this might be a bit difficult for the younger ones, so make sure you have a grown-up to help you with this step. Okay, so I have my 2 hand cutouts over here. Now you're going to get your glue and I'm going to apply glue to the back of your hand cutouts. One over here and the other one over here. And where are we going to paste it? Okay, so get your activity book over here and you're going to paste it over the boy's mouth. Okay, so we're going to paste it over here like that. There you go. That was pretty easy, right? Now children, I hope that through today's lesson about the third commandment, we will learn to guard our mouth and how we should be using God's name every day in our lives, because it will either glorify God or put Him down. So let us use God's name with respect. Next week we will move on to our 4th commandment. So till then, take care and see you. Bye!